doing and check your pocket now, because some of the most ordinary Jefferson nickels ever made are secretly hiding silent fortune, and people are spending them every single day without realizing it. Nobody talks about these coins until collectors start fighting over them at auction for insane money. Do not spend these coins. What looks like spare change could actually be hidden wealth worth more than a house. And the deeper we go into this list, the rarer, scarier, and more valuable these nickels become. Stay till the end, because these coins change everything. First up, most people would throw this nickel into a gas station tray without even looking at it. That's exactly why this coin is so dangerous to ignore. The 1989p Jefferson Monticello nickel looks ordinary, almost boring. But behind that quiet little 5-cent piece is one of the strangest collector obsessions in modern American coin hunting. While millions of people rushed through the late 1980s trying to survive rising bills, market pressure, and financial uncertainty, a tiny nickel quietly entered circulation that today has triggered real auction shock. And what makes this story terrifying is the fact that people are still accidentally spending it. This is not fiction. Somewhere right now, somebody is buying a soda with a coin that serious collectors would fight over behind closed auction doors. Back in 1989, America was entering a strange economic transition. The Cold War was nearing its dramatic end. Financial markets were shifting fast, and the U.S. Mint was under constant pressure to keep coins flowing through circulation. Nickels weren't treated like treasures back then. They were workhorse coins. Machines jammed them, pockets scratched them, banks dumped them into massive bags, and almost nobody saved them carefully. That pressure created a perfect storm for surviving high-grade examples to become unbelievably difficult to find decades later. Most people assume rarity only comes from old coins, from the 1800 era, but this detail changes everything. Sometimes a modern coin becomes rare because nobody respected it enough to protect it. That's exactly what happened here. The moment collectors pick up a 1989p Jefferson nickel in original condition, they immediately start studying the surfaces under bright light. On the front of the coin, you'll see the left-facing portrait of President Thomas Jefferson, designed with sharp facial detail that many circulated examples no longer have today. Around the portrait are the famous inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1989. Near the date sits the tiny P mint mark from the Philadelphia Mint, a detail many people completely ignore. But collectors don't ignore it. They obsess over it, because on the right example, that tiny letter becomes the gateway to hidden wealth. Then collectors flip the coin over, and this is where emotions start getting intense. The reverse design shows Jefferson's legendary home, Monticello, standing proudly in the center with sharp architectural lines that are often weak or damaged on circulated pieces. Above the building is the word E pluribus unum, while below it sits the giant denomination 5 cents and United States of America. Sounds simple, right? But simplicity is exactly what traps people. Because when a 1989p nickel survives with unusually strong detail on Monticello's steps, windows, pillars, and dome structure, collectors immediately recognize something special. Most people miss this. They see pocket change. Collectors see silent fortune. What makes this nickel even more fascinating is the metal composition hiding beneath its worn surfaces. This coin was struck using a blend of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it that familiar silver-gray appearance Americans recognize instantly. But over time, the copper core underneath reacts with air, moisture, oils from human hands, and decades of circulation, creating deep antique toning that serious collectors crave. Some examples develop smoky gray surfaces, while others show golden edges or dark storm-like shading that gives the coin an almost mysterious appearance. And here's the warning that new collectors learn too late. Never clean this coin. The second somebody wipes away that natural aging, the market value can collapse brutally. Original toning matters. Dirt isn't always dirt. Sometimes it's proof of authenticity and survival. Now here's where the obsession becomes even more intense. The 1989 p Jefferson nickel weighs exactly 5 grams, with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters and a thickness close to 1.95 millimeters. It has a smooth edge instead of reeds, giving it that soft pocket feel people barely notice anymore. But experienced collectors absolutely notice the physical feel of an untouched example. They study the girth, edge smoothness, strike sharpness, and even the pressure marks from mint production. During the late 1980s, mint machinery operated under heavy production demands, and die fatigue became common. Tiny strike weakness, uneven pressure, and microscopic surface imperfections created subtle differences between coins that now separate ordinary pieces from auction monsters. And this is where things start getting emotional. The average 1989 nickel got destroyed by everyday life. Coins were tossed into drawers, scraped against keys, dropped into vending machines, and exposed to years of moisture and dirt. Finding one today in true fine condition with original surfaces and strong details is already difficult. But finding one that still carries that untouched look collectors want, that becomes a completely different game. This is why professional grading is critical. A coin that looks average to one person can become a life-changing opportunity once authenticated and graded correctly by experts. That little plastic slab from a grading company can completely change how the market sees the coin. Auction rooms become strangely quiet when one of these nickels appears in exceptional condition. Not loud quiet, dangerous quiet. Experienced buyers stop joking, stop talking, and start calculating. Because they know supply keeps shrinking while demand keeps climbing. Many collectors who own premium 1989 nickels refuse to sell them at all. They hold them for years, sometimes decades, waiting for prices to climb even higher. And when one finally appears publicly, aggressive bidding can erupt without warning. People outside the hobby don't understand it. They laugh at the idea of a nickel selling for 6 figures, until they see the final hammer price themselves. And yes, this is real auction behavior. A 1989 Jefferson nickel in rare collectible condition has reached astonishing market levels around $110,000, even without dramatic mint errors attached to it. Let that sink in. 5 cents becoming serious money, powerful enough to change someone's entire financial situation. Hidden wealth sitting unnoticed in old jars, junk drawers, and forgotten coin rolls. This is why collectors constantly search bank rolls late into the night. They know fortunes hide where nobody bothers looking anymore. One reason this specific coin creates such emotional demand is because it represents survival. Not survival from centuries ago, but survival through neglect. Modern coins rarely receive respect. That makes preserved examples psychologically powerful to collectors. It feels like rescuing treasure from a world that almost destroyed it. Every untouched surface mark tells a story. Every patch of original luster feels alive. And every sharp design detail proves the coin escaped decades of abuse. That emotional connection drives bidding wars harder than most people realize. If you ever find a 1989 Jefferson nickel, the first thing you should check is the overall surface quality under direct light. Look carefully at Jefferson's cheek, jawline, and hair details. Then inspect Monticello on the reverse. Weak pillars, flattened steps, or dull surfaces can dramatically affect value. Also, check the mint mark carefully. Collectors fixate on placement, clarity, and strike sharpness. Tiny differences matter more than beginners understand. And remember this warning: never polish it, never scrub it, and never dip it into cleaning chemicals. One careless mistake can erase decades of collectible value permanently. Patience is another secret weapon in this market. Smart collectors don't rush. They study surfaces, compare details, and wait for the right example. That patience creates wealth over time because demand for premium modern nickels continues rising while surviving originals disappear into private collections. Some buyers today are not even purchasing these coins to resell immediately. They're storing them like financial assets. Quiet wealth, silent fortune, a hidden reserve of value hiding in plain sight. And what makes this even crazier is the fact that the next coin on this list is considered by some collectors to be even more terrifyingly rare than this 1989p nickel. The auction records become more aggressive. The collector obsession becomes deeper. And one tiny detail on that next coin has caused people to search through thousands of nickels for years without finding a single example. Do not spend these coins, because what comes next is even bigger. You need to stop ignoring dirty nickels immediately, because one of the biggest hidden treasure coins in America looks exactly like the kind of change people throw on counters every single day. Most people see scratches, darkness, and wear. Collectors see silent fortune. And the terrifying part is that these coins are still hiding in circulation right now. Check your pockets, check your old jars, check the bottom of your car. Do not spend these coins, because what looks worthless could secretly change everything before this video ends. The 1980 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark is one of those coins people insult without thinking twice. It doesn't shine like silver. It doesn't look ancient. It doesn't scream rare. In fact, the dirtier it looks, the more likely someone is to ignore it completely. And that is exactly why this coin became such a dangerous hidden opportunity. Somewhere along the way, collectors realized that surviving original examples of this nickel, especially ones that escaped harsh cleaning and damage, were disappearing faster than anyone expected. Quietly, almost secretly, demand exploded behind the scenes. And now people who once laughed at these nickels are desperately searching through pocket change, trying to find one before it's too late. The year 1980 was a tense moment in American history. Inflation pressure was squeezing families hard. Gas prices had shocked the country, and the economy felt unstable to millions of Americans. Coins moved aggressively through circulation because people depended heavily on cash transactions during that era. The U.S. Mint was focused on production speed, not preserving beauty. Nickels were treated like tools, not collectibles. They were slammed into registers, vending machines, laundromats, diners, arcades, and cigarette machines day after day. Most 1980 nickels lived brutal lives from the second they were minted. That non-stop abuse is exactly what transformed surviving original examples into collector obsessions decades later. What makes this coin even stranger is the missing mint mark. Most people never notice it because they never learned where to look. On Jefferson nickels, the mint mark appears near the date on the obverse side when present. But on this 1980 nickel, there's no mint mark at all, meaning it came from the Philadelphia Mint during a period when no mint mark was standard for certain production runs. To ordinary people, that means nothing. But collectors become emotionally attached to these no-mint mark examples because they represent an entire era of American coinage that feels forgotten today. This is not fiction. Tiny details that the public ignores are exactly what serious collectors chase. The front of the coin carries the unmistakable left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, and even in circulated condition, collectors examine every surviving detail carefully. Around Jefferson's image are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1980 on heavily circulated examples. Jefferson's cheek and jawline often become flattened from decades of wear. Hair details fade away, letters weaken. But when an example survives with stronger than normal details despite circulation, collectors immediately pay attention. They know most examples were destroyed by time, friction, and neglect. Flip the coin over, and the reverse reveals the famous image of Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia estate. Above the building appears E pluribus unum, while below are 5 cents and United States of America. This side becomes incredibly important in the collector world because Monticello's architectural details are usually the first thing circulation damages. Steps disappear, pillars blur, windows flatten, roof lines weaken. Most people never notice these differences, but collectors obsess over them. A circulated 1980 nickel with unusually visible Monticello details can trigger intense interest because it suggests the coin survived better than the overwhelming majority. Now here's the part people underestimate completely. This nickel was struck using a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it strength for circulation, but also creating fascinating aging patterns over time. The coin weighs exactly 5 grams, has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters, a thickness near 1.95 millimeters, and a smooth edge that many collectors instinctively run their fingers across while inspecting authenticity. The physical feel matters. Experienced collectors know when a coin feels right. They study edge wear, surface texture, and natural aging under bright light, because counterfeit surfaces or altered textures often reveal themselves through touch and reflection. But the real magic of this coin comes from something most people hate: dirt. That dark, uneven, antique-looking surface many people try to scrub away can actually become one of the coin's most important features. Original toning matters enormously. A naturally aged 1980 nickel develops layers of gray, charcoal, gold, and smoky darkness that tell the story of decades in circulation. Those surfaces prove authenticity and survival. The moment someone cleans the coin, that history disappears forever. This is why collectors constantly warn, never clean this coin. Never polish it. Never dip it in chemicals. A cleaned coin often loses the emotional character collectors are willing to fight over. And make no mistake, collectors absolutely fight over these coins. Not publicly in dramatic movie scenes, but quietly, intensely, and aggressively inside auction rooms and private sales. The competition becomes emotional because truly desirable examples are getting harder to locate every year. Many surviving coins have already been cleaned, scratched, damaged, or destroyed by improper storage. Others disappeared into private collections long ago and may never return to the market. Demand keeps rising while available supply keeps shrinking. That imbalance creates serious pressure in the collector world. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is assuming only shiny coins have value. That misunderstanding causes hidden fortunes to vanish every day. A dirty, circulated 1980 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel with original surfaces can attract far more collector attention than an over-cleaned shiny example. Collectors want authenticity. They want honest aging. They want surfaces untouched by modern polishing attempts. Sometimes the ugliest-looking coin in a jar becomes the most valuable survivor hiding there. And here's where things become even more emotional. Many collectors are not simply buying these coins as hobbies anymore. They see them as long-term assets. Quiet wealth, silent fortune, hiding in plain sight. Some buyers hold premium examples for years without selling because they believe future scarcity will drive demand even higher. Every year more coins get damaged, lost, or destroyed, while collector communities continue growing online. Younger collectors entering the hobby are now hunting modern coins aggressively because older rare coins have become financially unreachable for many people. That shift changed everything. Professional grading is critical with this coin. A raw, circulated nickel sitting loose in a drawer might look insignificant, but once authenticated and graded by a respected grading service, its market perception can change instantly. Tiny differences in strike sharpness, surface originality, wear patterns, and eye appeal can create enormous differences in collector demand. This is why experienced buyers inspect coins under magnification for hours before making decisions. What seems small to ordinary people becomes everything in the collector market. The auction history surrounding elite examples of the 1,980 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel has shocked even long-time collectors. Certain premium survivors have reached astonishing market values, around $120,000, despite lacking dramatic mint errors. Think about how unbelievable that sounds. A coin most Americans would spend without hesitation suddenly becoming life-changing money. That reality has created an entire generation of people searching old coin jars late at night, hoping to uncover hidden wealth before someone else finds it first. If you ever discover one of these nickels, the first thing you should do is slow down. Don't rush to clean it. Don't wipe the surfaces. Don't scrape away darkness thinking you're improving it. Instead, hold the coin carefully by the edges and inspect the details under natural light. Look at Jefferson's portrait. Examine Monticello's steps and pillars. Study the lettering. Check for original texture and honest aging. Then consider professional grading, because authentication can protect both the coin and its future value. Patience creates wealth in this market. The collectors making the smartest moves are often the quietest ones. They search carefully, study surfaces obsessively, and wait years for the right opportunities. They understand something the public still doesn't. Ordinary-looking nickels can hide extraordinary stories and serious money. And every time somebody unknowingly spends one of these coins, the surviving supply becomes even smaller. So before you ignore another dirty nickel sitting in your cup holder or buried inside an old kitchen drawer, remember this story. A forgotten 5-cent piece from 1980 became one of the most shocking hidden treasures modern collectors chase today. People laughed at these coins for decades. Now collectors hunt them like buried gold. And if you think this coin was unbelievable, the next Jefferson nickel on this list is even more disturbing. One tiny feature on that next coin has caused experienced collectors to freeze the moment they spot it, and some believe examples are still hiding in circulation right now. Stay till the end, because what comes next could be the rarest pocket change discovery you've ever seen.